but I believe we are good to go now. So, yeah, super. So, yeah, I was saying, Reti, thank you for joining in. It's always been a pleasure working with you, and our association in terms of promoting credit education dates back to almost 2013 when we started working together on the CCRA certification. And since then, I mean, of course, we've done a lot of work together, as well as you in your individual capacity in promoting this segment. So it's wonderful to have you with us, joining in and helping youngsters in this session about the significance of credit risk as a career option. So thank you again, and audience. Let me give you a quick introduction of Revati. Uh, I mean, in my experience of dealing with finance professionals day in day out, uh, she's as good and as prominent a profile as it gets. I mean, from a student and a fresher's point of view, when you are looking for making a very strong career in finance analytics, I think Revati's career is something that you can always look up to. A career, a CWA rank holder CA, and having spent most of her 21 plus years of working life in credit, uh, she's someone who's made a name for herself, and she's someone who understands credit like a back of her hand. And we couldn't have got a better leader from this field to come and talk to us today about this field called credit risk. So we all know, I mean, credit, of course, is an integral part of the modern economy and also a global financial system. It is the expansion of credit that is more like a major contributing factor to global as well as the national economic development. And access to good credit not only facilitates GDP expansion, but also leads to the overall and strong and fundamental growth of an economy. So it all good access to good and cheap access to credit also improves the efficiency and profitability of businesses throughout. But having talked about credit, I mean, the irony about this field is the word credit is usually gets associated with credit risk, which is talking about the negatives of not having the right credit strategy. And we, especially living in a country in a time when uh, results of bad credit policies are all around us, in terms of large organizations failing, organizations like ILNFS, etc., or even in terms of some very good banks folding up, like PMC or Lakshmi Vilas Bank, or even a Yes Bank, which somehow got saved, but again, I mean, has lost its charm and its aura forever. So bad credit uh, policy or a poor credit skills are not only injurious or harmful to the particular company or industry, but overall country. And this is where the role of credit analysts or the role of credit risk professional becomes all the more important. So the objective of this session is to take you all through this field, what it entails, what kind of career options it has for all of you, why students and younger professionals should look at credit risk as a profession, and what all they can look up to in terms of career growth if they're getting into it. So on this note, I'll straight away get to our speaker and guest for the day, Revati. So Revati, I hope I'm still audible to you.
Perfect.
Yeah. So let us quickly start off with some brief introduction of your professional journey, Revati. Since those rank holder days of CA, you chose credit as your career option. So please take us through your professional journey and why did you choose credit as a career option?
Okay, firstly, good evening to all present, and thank you, Aditya, for giving me an opportunity to talk to the students on the subject of credit risk and careers in credit risk, to be specific. It's really a pleasure to be associated with all initiatives that AIWMI undertakes. Right from, as you said, 2013, when the course was launched, and we were all in the brainstorming session, deciding what should be the contours and contents of the course. So right from those days to today, where we are associating in a different kind of way through a digital platform with your entire team and the initiatives that you take. So thank you so much, Aditya, to begin with. Yeah, why did I choose credit risk assessment? A couple of things. I think it was more of an elimination game rather than a choosing game for me. So I didn't want to get into the traditional practice of audit and tax, and I didn't want to go to the through the route of becoming a CFO through the corporate finance, because as an individual I like to take up different challenges and understand different perspectives of the economy and industry. And so I was looking at opportunities which will help me be a part of the financial intermediary ecosystem. So whether it's going to be at those points in times, IPOs were the big thing, and merchant banking was the profession to get into. So so essentially the glamorous equity markets, I think they're on steroids even today as we speak. That was something which probably was interesting, and one thing led to another, and I landed up being an interview at Care Ratings. At that point of time, rating as an industry was extremely new to India. It was about 4 to 5 years old in the Indian context, whereas internationally we have had rating agencies around for 100 plus years. So this particular financial intermediary of ratings took a long time to get to India. And when I started my career, it was a new thing on the block, so to say, and that is what interested me to understand more about how credit risk assessment works, and what are the parameters, how do they actually do it, and so on and so forth. So that's how I got interested in credit, and got interested in a rating agency and joined one. This was around 1995 that I'm talking about. um, so I think, does that answer your question, Aditya, as to why credit?
Yeah, of course it does. So before we move on to the credit risk related questions, the one thing which is very evident when someone is looking at your profile, Revati, is the sheer time you spend with one organization. It is, I must say, very unusual, even if from our generation point of view, for someone to spend so much time. And this is unusual, unconventional. However, we all know that it's very rewarding to continue to be with one organization and grow, not only in terms of your personal growth, but also in terms of becoming a thought leader in the industry. But very, very few people follow this. So, what was your reasons? What were your reasons, or was this like more of a default or by design? How did you manage to kind of not fall for the temptation of switching over?
Okay, so I did switch over once.
Yeah.
So I was working for a European bank for some years, and decided to come back into assessing hardcore. And there also, I was in the corporate credit department, so essentially analyzing credit risk for counterparties that the bank is lending to. So essentially, putting your money where your mouth is. So that's what I call banking. But yeah, coming back to why I chose to be in a single organization, because it gave me a variety of opportunities. So it's not that got straddled with only one area or one aspect of doing ratings, but I have piloted different roles within the organization. So it started with ratings, and I went on to set up a research department. I was heading the research department. After that, I looked after strategic initiatives wherein we took over a company in India, and we also opened rating agencies across borders. So in countries like in the African continent, as well as in Nepal, we have a rating agency and was associated with doing that. So that was part of the strategic initiatives team that I was into. Also had additional responsibility of HR to design the systems to see what exactly does it take, what kind of people, what should be the training of those people. So it was a different challenge, and right now I look after policy framework for the organization. So, set up the entire criteria, processes that have to be followed, which have become so encompassing, so important. As Aditya mentioned, in the times that we're facing today, where there was a credit crisis that India faced, to 2018 onwards. So, from that era, how do we kind of course correct? How do we set up more robust systems of analyzing and assessing? And that's what is my present profile. So, within a company, you can do various jobs and opportunities that come your way, and that's what keeps you interested. So, I don't look at it as one company, I look at it at different jobs, within the same company.
No, that's a terrific answer, Revati. Thanks. But just staying for a couple of more minutes on this point, because there are a lot of youngsters
Mhm.
in the panel, in this session, and I'm sure there'll be many more who will be watching it later. So I did, of course, notice that you switched once, switched over once to another company and then come back. But the beauty of it was you started your career with Care, and went to this another company and came back here. So it speaks highly about you as a candidate, how you looked at your company, and how the company looked at you. For both of you to consider that, no, we want her back, or you to think that, no, I want to get back to the same organization. So any thoughts on that, in terms of, because nowadays I see youngsters being very short sighted in the way they
Mhm.
plan their careers.
Right.
They are not chasing this long term profile. They are rather chasing short term quick raises, which actually becomes counterproductive in the long run, is what I believe. So few some thoughts here on this line before we move on to our actual topic of the day?
Yeah, so what I believe is that you should actually do what you like, and the money will follow. So rather than do the other way around, that go from one job to another job because there is higher compensation, I think the IRR over the long term is all the same. So it doesn't really matter. And if you like what you're doing, then you will do it to the best of your ability, and you will put your heart and soul into it, which means it will come out also very well. And if it does come out very well, then the organization is going to reward you. They just cannot not do that. So I think it's essentially, money should follow. Not You should not run after money, but money should follow what you're doing. That's all.
Correct. Correct. So great. So now getting back to our topic, credit risk. Now, Revati, both you and me, I mean, in my career also, I speak to hundreds of students every year, and what I see is equity is always a glamorous subject. Investment banking is always a glamorous subject. Credit somehow, among students as well as among young professionals, is a very understated and undercovered subject. Why do you think it is so? Even though it is one of the most important ones, why is
Uh,
it so
yeah,
undercovered?
very, very true. Very true. You don't have an index measuring credit every day, probably for starters. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the credit markets world over, and so in India too, are much larger than the equity markets. However, the credit markets typically get to get to be usually polarized or concentrated with a few players, at least in India, and it's not so throughout the world. Throughout the world, there are players across all spectrums of credit risk, and therefore it becomes very sought after there. However, in India, it's not so. In India, you have very concentrated players. Mostly, lending takes place through the banking channels, which is largely a bilateral channel for lending, and not so much a marketplace channel for lending. So the bond market, while we have been at it in terms of development of the bond market for a really, really long time, you do not have still investors across the spectrum. While there are some investors who would invest in credit risk bonds or bonds having higher risk associated with them, but they are far and few between. The point is that that's probably the reason that young professionals look at only this aspect and say credit is not exciting. But you need to broaden your horizon when you really talk about credit. In credit, as we say, we look at the glass half empty, whereas the equity analyst looks at the glass half full. So there's a difference in perspective as to how you look at it, but the job essentially remains the same. There are two sides of the same coin. You essentially have to be an analyst first, and then you can want to analyze it from an equity perspective, and you want to analyze it from a credit perspective. So they're actually two things which are totally similar to each other. Only the prognosis that you're doing and the end result that you want to achieve is different in these two aspects. So as I said, you need to broaden your horizons on the various applications where credit risk is considered to be one of the most important determinants of making a decision. So not only lending, and probably Aditya, I would like to the audience to take them through which are the areas in which credit risk analysis is applicable or it is important. It's we all know is that for we all know probably only one aspect that risk creditor assessment is used in lending, which means it is used by banks, it is used by NBFCs, it is used by mutual funds for investments. So the debt capital markets are there where the mutual fund picks up papers, either money market instruments or bond market instruments that they pick up. Then there are alternative investment funds which are now fast emerging, which are another vehicles where you do credit risk analysis. But do you know that every business requires a credit analyst? Because every business, whether he's into the manufacturing sector, whether it's to the services sector or any sector or infrastructure sector, they all need to know whether the counterparties that they are dealing with will are creditworthy or not. And if you need to know that the counterparties that you're dealing with are creditworthy or not, in comes the assessment of credit risk. And therefore, it's not really a very small siloed kind of activity that we are talking about. It has applications across various industries. So it's not only the lending industry or the fund management industry, but it is also the insurance industry where the investment profile or insurance companies it's a very big kind of corpus that they have to invest. So there's insurance companies. Then there are multilateral organizations like the ADB or the World Bank where they have a commercial lending arm, and that commercial lending arm also employs credit analysts. Then there are, people who are into yield kind of assets. So investors in REITs and InvITs, which are fast emerging as flavors of the season in India, at least. Those kind of investors look at a credit analyst. People who credit risk is fast becoming a very, very quantitative discipline too, because there is a lot of modeling which can be done to assess the early warning signals or assess what's going to come ahead in terms of behavior of a particular credit. And when you talk about that, there is a significant amount of functional knowledge which is required to build those models. And that's where again a credit risk analyst is important. Somebody who understands how to do credit risk assessment. And believe me, this is a while I still said that these are two sides of the same coin, it is still a very niche area that requires in-depth knowledge of how to analyze companies from a credit perspective. So just don't look at credit from a lending fraternity perspective, but look at credit risk assessment from these larger bodies of organizations which need to assess credit in order to function.
Super.
Yeah.
No, no, quite interesting that is. I mean, I'm sure that will open up, horizon for a lot of people because a lot of, I mean, people usually think, yeah, I mean, credit means only banks or certain institutions, but you need credit analysts all across. So coming back, talking about your organization, which is a credit, one of the most prominent credit rating companies. Please, share your insights in terms of how the organization is structured and how does a credit rating company actually work?
Okay. So, a credit rating agency in India works only on mandate basis, which means an issuer has to give a mandate to a rating agency to rate its debt. Essentially, rating is about the ability, willingness of a counterparty or issuer to pay the obligations on time. That's what a credit rating agency assesses essentially. The way it works is, when you get a mandate, you put on. There are two sides of the business. One is the ratings team, and the second is the business development team. And there is a kind of a Chinese wall between these two, which is being put by the regulators, and very rightly so, so that a credit analyst is not involved in any commercial interactions that a business development team has with the client. So there are two parallel verticals which are there in every rating agency. One is the ratings team, and another is the business development team. There is a third vertical, which is the criteria and policy framework team, which sets out the rules and regulations within which the operations team has to operate, and sets out the different methodologies to be employed when rating companies belonging to different industries. So that's the third vertical which is there in a rating agency. And there is a fourth vertical, which is the economy and industry research vertical. This is an extremely important vertical because what we do when we analyze companies is we follow the economy industry company model. So first see how the economy is doing, then have a view on the industry that you are looking at, and then have a form of view on the company. So these are the three aspects that we follow when we do ratings. So as I said, there are four differentiated verticals. There is a ratings team, there is a business development team, there is a criteria policy team, and then there is the economy and industry research team, which feeds a lot of data into the rating teams. When you kind of get a rating assignment, a team of two members is associated with that assignment, and this team of two members is not only required to go through the financials, because financials is one part of the story. And I say a story because every credit actually tells you a story, so you need to pick up the story rather than just look at the financial numbers. So that's what this team is expected or supposed to do. They are expected to interact with the management, to interact with the bankers, interact with the suppliers of the company, the customers of the company, to understand more about the company. And then the team typically has a team lead, and between them they prepare a credit report, which is presented to the rating committee of an agency. So the rating committee is an independent kind of members, which has independent about 3 to 5 members is what a rating committee has, and the recommendation is made by the team lead, but the rating is assigned by the rating committee. None of the members of the rating committee meet the client, so to say. That meeting happens only at the team level. So there is no question of any kind of influence which the client might have on the rating decision, because the committee members don't meet the clients. So that's how, in a nutshell, a rating agency functions.
Sure.
And obviously, there are a lot of other things, which feed into the rating teams in terms of the quantitative tools and the rating models that we use, and so on and so forth.
Sure. So moving from an organization to an individual. So let's say a credit analyst or a credit risk professional joining your team. What are the typical roles and responsibilities of a credit analyst?
So firstly, we have teams structured, industry-wise. So there would be, different industries which are there for different teams which are there for different industries. So there will be a team which does the banking and financial sector based companies. There'll be another team which looks at infrastructure companies. There'll be another team which looks at manufacturing. Within manufacturing, there'll be a team. So it's industry-wise segregation that happens. And then there is a team which looks at large corporate credits and mid corporate credits. So that's another segregation which happens in terms of the quantum of debt that you're rating. Typically, a rating analyst will first join a mid corporate credit team and then go into the large corporate credit team, because the sensitivity of the ratings is pretty high when it comes to large corporate credits. That's what typically will happen. As I said, that once a member joins the team, that person is expected to read up a lot. It's very important to keep yourself updated on the industry which has been assigned to you. So let's say you're assigned companies belonging to the banking industry. It's important to understand regulations for banks, so that which means that you need to be very well conversant with the RBI regulations for the banking system, the various kinds of instruments that can be issued, features of the instruments. So the regulatory part has to be well understood. The person is expected to read up on. Obviously, we have our own economy and industry research team, which feeds a lot of data. But the analyst is supposed to keep himself abreast of all that information which flows in and data which flows in. And as a part of the job profile, as I said, there is once a case has been assigned, they're expected to read the annual reports and all the past papers associated with that case. If it's a case which has been with let's say care rating for a really long time, then you would have all the past records also. If it's a new case, then you need to hunt for your data from apart from what the client gives you from external sources. And we started our careers when there was no access to internet. You guys are a blessed generation. You have so much information available that you really need to just type or Google a particular thing, and that's there in front of you. A lot of websites are available. Regulatory websites are there. We didn't have most of this when we started our careers. So, a lot of information is available, and we expect the credit analyst to be well informed. After that, when the case is allocated, they need to, as I said, go through all the papers. Meeting the management is a very, very important aspect. It's a part of our diligence that we do to understand the perspective of the management and to make our own assessment of, it's very difficult to quantify willingness. As I said, ability and willingness, those are the two pillars that we are looking to assess. Ability is somewhat easy because there might be models which will be helping you. There are objective criteria, there are parameters that you look at, and so on and so forth. However, how do you assess willingness of a person to pay? How do you know that there's an installment which is falling due and this guy has the money? How do you know whether that guy will pay or not? That's a very difficult aspect to analyze, and more so in India. Management evaluation is something which is hugely important to understand, to assess, to understand whether the management will be able to and that's a totally different topic altogether. And I'm not going to here talk about how we do it, but that's something which is a part of the job role of a rating analyst, because he's a part of the team which kind of interacts with the management. Obviously, there are seniors around, and there are structured questionnaires and so on and so forth. But however, this is a very important and critical aspect which is there, uh, which also means that you get to meet the who's who of corporate India. And that's something you're talking to them about their business, and you need to be obviously very well prepared to ask them questions on their business, because they know their business much more than you know their business, obviously, because they've been in the business for a really long time. But what you know is that you know many other companies doing the same business, and you know how they are doing it. So there's a lot of wealth of knowledge that as a rating agency analyst you would carry, or as a credit analyst you would carry, because you would be dealing with similar kinds of companies, and that's the knowledge that you can really apply yourself when you're doing a case. And once you have formed a rating report, which you have to present that to the rating committee, and argue a particular and also recommend a rating. The team which is doing the case recommends a rating. And that recommendation is something that you should be able to stand up to and argue your case, saying that this is where we think the credit is placed. So that's all in a day's job for a rating analyst.
Super. Quite an elaborate answer. I'm sure that would help the student a lot. Talking about the juniors, I mean freshers joining your organization as a in the credit analysis team. What are typically the growth opportunities, and how does the career roadmap look like?
So here, I would like to tell everyone that don't be fixated on the aspect that I joined I want to join only a particular team. I want to do only large corporates. I want to do only this kind of work. It doesn't help. What helps in making a career is you take up challenges as they come by and go with the flow when you're doing the work. So if your organization requires you to focus on something else, and I'll tell you what happened when I joined Care. They told me that I need to debug a credit rating software that they had just purchased. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't obviously say I don't want to do it, but I felt a little odd as to, I'm not a IT person to debug any software. How do I do it? Believe me, you, it taught me so much, and the learning curve was so fast as to how exactly ratios are calculated and when you do credit analysis. And they all got so fixed in my mind that the other people who had joined with me took a longer time to go up that learning curve. So, whatever, as a fresher, what you need to be is flexible. That's very important. So, don't get fixated on doing something because you had thought that this is something that I would like to do. Be focused on your work and do it well, and that will give you opportunities across the spectrum.
Yeah, no, that's a that's again an answer which is something I personally feel a lot about. But generally, from on the credit analyst professional's career, Revati, my question was more to do with like students who join you as a credit analyst. What typically are the next levels for them? How do they grow in their career? So
So
what?
essentially, it would be an analyst, a senior analyst, a team lead, which is managing a team of 4 to 5 people. Then you would go to become a rating head, a person who manages 4 to 5 team leads. And a committee member also. A rating head is typically also a committee member. And there are various committees across various rating agencies. So you would start with the smaller committees, which means analyzing let's say sub-investment grade credits, moving to investment grade credits, and moving to then analyzing larger credits or credits with a higher rating category, and so on. So then it becomes becoming a committee member, and then ultimately the path to the CRO, which is the chief rating officer, or the chief of criteria, whatever that you want to be.
Sure. So my last question before I open this up for the audience, for a youngster or a fresher who wants to join this kind of a work, what are the key skill sets, or the attitude or aptitude that is required?
Okay, so in terms of qualifications, we would look at somebody with a professional degree, so either CA or a CFA, or an engineer, MBA graduate, or even a commerce MBA graduate. So something of some professional degree. We take a mix of people, so we don't. So we kind of like diversity. So somebody who comes people who come from different disciplines of engineering and then do their MBA, and people who are chartered accountants or CFAs or any other higher degree in finance that is
CCRAs?
available. So that's where we look at.
You consider CCRAs?
Yeah, we consider CCRAs too.
Of course, you've designed it. So for those who don't know this, CCRA, the syllabus, books, etc., has been designed by Revati and her team, and it got such rave reviews from everyone. In fact, that helped almost 12, 13 global organizations to come in later to chip in with some or other content, and of course, RBI approving it later. Great. So that you spoke about, Revati, the qualifications. How about skill sets, or you know any other softer side skills that you think
Yeah, so we look at somebody who is a good communicator, because there's a lot of client interface for a rating analyst. As I said, you need to meet with the top managements of the clients, as well as interact with the bankers and the auditors, and so a lot of counterparties in the process. So we like to look at good written and oral communication skills, and an ability to work within a team, because typically it is not a single kind of activity that we're looking for in terms of you working solo. There are always people who work in teams to on a particular credit. So ability to work in teams, uh, as I said, good communication skills also would encompass good presentation skills, because every week there will be presentations to the rating committee which have to be made, not presentations in the PPT format that I'm talking about, but presentations to kind of talk about the credit, and somebody who has a very sound logic, because that's very important when we analyze credits, that to understand somebody who understands the logic behind, and thinks logically when questions are. So I when we kind of interview people, we don't expect them to know all the answers, because they are very difficult situations that we might put across with you to you, and obviously you don't know the answers. But what we look for is a logical thinking ability, whether the person is able to kind of weed through a lot of data information that is being provided, to pinpoint what areas that he or she should be focusing on, and then taking building the logic from there. From That's what we typically would look at.
Super. So I think I'm done with questions. Paucity of time, so I'll request the audience quickly to start putting their questions in the chat window. I can see some questions already. Reti, I'll read the questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a question from Anand, who's asking, could you please suggest what qualifications does it require to get into credit risk? Can we get into a CCRA with online MBA, or does it require CA or CFA?
No, as I said, you can get into a CCRA with an online MBA. Online MBA, what does that mean? You
I think
do
the
you do
distance
distance
learning,
MBA, is it?
distance learning, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, Siddharth is asking, what is the standard turnaround time to issue a rating?
We tell 3 weeks from the date of complete information.
Okay. Shailesh is asking, what is the role of business development team and what kind of qualifications are required other than marketing, finance, post graduation?
Yeah, so a business development team, when you work in a rating industry for a business development role, you cannot not know analysis, because we are not here trying to sell retail loans, right? We're trying to market a service, which obviously, presupposes that you understand how to deliver the service. So most often than not, we like to rotate people, from the ratings team to the BD team and vice versa, so that they understand both aspects of the business. But yes, for starters, we look at MBA in marketing. So I'm not saying that we don't look at chartered accountants for a business development role, because they can also. It's essentially understanding the concept that we are into, and then presenting that towards your client. So that's the most important thing. So we're not really looking at only MBAs in finance for the business development role. And as I said, we do encourage people within the ratings team to go into the business development team, and vice versa. That is encouraged.
Sure. The next question is from Bharat. He's asking, any resource platform you would suggest for the interested students for self-learning on credit?
Yeah, so a lot of platforms are available. Firstly, websites of rating agencies themselves. We have such a wealth of information that we actually put out over there in terms of understanding credit and understanding, how different risks are assessed. So there are a lot of information which is there on our own websites. Apart from that, if you want to understand, and also international rating agencies websites, both Standard and Poor's and Moody's, as well as Fitch ratings. So any of these websites you can go through. There's a wealth of knowledge which is available over there. Apart from that, there are a lot of books that you can refer to when understanding. It's essentially not only understanding credit; it's also understanding companies. So from the who's who of finance, whatever books are available, I think all those are good enough.
Sure. So Hetal, you put out question, but I'm not sure which course are you referring to. So if you can just mention the course, then I'll be able to take this question. Next question is from Pranjal. Would it be possible to work completely online?
Would
I
it
believe.
be possible to work completely? Yeah. So at present, we are, at least our rating analyst role, we are working completely online. None of the rating analysts have been so far, I think, called to office. So it's possible. Whether it is something that would be the way shape of things to come, I don't know.
Okay. So Hetal has mentioned that she was talking on CCRA course, and I think I'll answer this. So she's asking, CA has internship. Does CCRA also has any kind of internship to gain theoretical as well as practical knowledge? So Hetal, as of now, since it's a program mandated under the RBI's Capacity Building Committee report, there is no internship required. However, we have a careers team which keeps working on providing the jobs and internship opportunities to the students, so that you can get separately in touch with for them. I'll come to the next question by Tridev. He's asking, he's recently completed his MSc in finance from a foreign business school. Is that considered an alternative to an MBA? I mean, from CARE ratings point of view.
So he's completed his PhD in finance from a foreign
MSc,
university, is it?
MSc in finance.
MSc in finance. Okay. Oh yeah, that should work. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So it's a
Amit,
post-graduation course, right? MSc.
yeah.
Yeah, should work.
Okay. So guys, there are some questions related to CCRA. I can take those separately. For now, let me just ask questions which are relevant or are meant for Revati. So Aditya Ganesh Iyer is asking, how should we update our knowledge regarding credit research analysts, bond markets? What are the career opportunities for people with experience of 2 years into financial planning and analysis after completion of CCRA? It's quite a mixed question.
You need to take that, Aditya. What are the opportunities?
No, I think you already covered. How do they keep themselves updated? You mentioned a few
Yeah,
portals and
resources.
other
Yeah,
books, etc. So I think that
yeah.
works for you, Aditya, as well. And career opportunities. She already mentioned in the beginning. I believe uh, sky's the limit right now for credit analysts because they are required almost everywhere. My suggestion would be look at places where no one else is looking. So one such field I keep telling almost everyone is the alternative investments sector, which is growing very, very fast, but very, very few people are looking at. You can of course also look at the fintech platforms which are mushrooming all around, primarily into lending and payments. So these two sectors I've seen very, very few people are following or trying towards. There are a lot of opportunities with a lot of companies setting up. So I believe that can give you some edge. Uh, okay, let me go to the next question. Okay, yeah, this is an interesting question by Siddharth. He's asking, what are the distinct avenues that one can explore in the finance sector post being a part of the credit rating industry?
Oh, okay. So we are, all credit rating agencies are training grounds. Let me tell you that. So we kind of post a credit rating profile because we teach so much in-depth knowledge of how to do credit analysis. You can actually go and work in lending institutions, which is development finance institutions, which are just coming, infrastructure lending companies, or banks or NBFCs or mutual funds, debt side mutual funds, where a lot of our colleagues have gone to debt side mutual funds. You can go into, as Aditya mentioned, alternative investment funds is a emerging kind of platform where you have a lot of credit funds also there. So you can go and join them. You can be associated, even with some of them have joined even private equity players, you know. So private equity players also, as I said, debt and equity are two sides of the same coin. So they also look at people from rating agencies, or you can join companies which are into arranging or structuring of debt for, let's say, securitization transactions, or structuring of REITs and InvITs. Or you can go and join the financial services platforms of the big auditing firms. They also have a huge business over there, which requires credit analysts. Or you can go and join fintechs, where again functional knowledge is required of credit to build that platform, which is used for lending. I mean, credit risk, as I said, is a very very widely used kind of thing in every business. So there is opportunity. There are people who have gone and joined the corporates also to become a part of their strategy teams. There are people who have joined even brokerages, or big fund houses as a part of their resource raising platforms. So the opportunities are endless.
Okay. So Harshita, I skipped your question because it's quite broad and vague. If you can be a bit more specific, you're asking if you want to switch from a housing finance company to other industry, but it will be important for you to tell us where you are, which role, I mean, what kind of experience and all. Then it probably will be easier one to answer. Till then, I'll take up the other questions. So Ajay is asking, for a banker with 15 years of experience, where can he find himself fitting in the role in a rating agency? Is there a scope for bankers, Revati?
Yeah, yeah. So we have in the past taken lateral, bankers as a part of our teams. So essentially, we would look. I mean, I would look for a team lead kind of position for a person, but that experience has to be relevant. That means that person should have done credit risk assessment in banks and not involved in operations or treasury or those kind of roles, because then it becomes difficult to do a fitment. But if somebody has worked for 15 years into the credit risk assessment or corporate banking areas of banking, then definitely we look at such profiles too.
Okay. There's an interesting question by Anu. He's asking you. He's currently working in US mortgage underwriting.
Okay.
So if he switches projects, wouldn't it be like losing career growth because his previous experience won't be considered for other credit projects? So is that true?
See, when you are switching in the initial years of your career, it doesn't make so much of a difference. But if you have spent a considerable amount of time in a particular line, then yes, it will make a difference. So when you're looking at, let's say, somebody who's involved in retail lending, or as you said, mortgage underwriting, which is essentially housing finance, a credit assessment, or somebody who's into, let's say, a credit card credit assessment, or such kind of retail credits. And what banks typically would do is that they would have a separate team for retail and separate team for wholesale. Rating agencies don't do any retail credits; they only are into wholesale credits. So then, at a later point of time, if you have spent a significant amount of time in your job in the retail credit, it will become a difficult switch. But with 2 years, I don't think it's such a difficult switch.
Sure. I'm just taking a minute out, and I'm not sure if most of these participants here are aware, but for last 4 years now, this is the fourth year running, we've been organizing a national contest called Credit Research Challenge. Revati and some of the other prominent leaders from the industry have been jury members there. Those who are new to this field and are just want to explore, understand, learn with while working on it, will definitely recommend that participate in this contest, Credit Research Challenge. The website is creditresearchchallenge.com. That entire 2-3 months of process and participating in those 3-4 rounds could be a very very good learning experience if you want to pursue this field. Getting back, there's a question by Bharat. One good book for a starter and one for a professional on credit analysis.
That's very tough. It's not one book. You have to read a lot of them.
So I Bharat, I mean, I'll definitely recommend two books which written by Revati, which are the CCRA level one available on Taxman. So other than that, of course, sector specific, you can read as much as you want, and nothing will be sufficient, I believe. Was one second. So going back, next question is by Siddharth. What is the difference between underwriting and credit rating a product or a security? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, so underwriter typically puts money into the asset, if at all it devolves on that company. Whereas a credit rating company just gives an opinion on the likelihood of a possible default. So, in the credit rating agency doesn't put its own money into that particular asset or that particular loan, whereas an underwriting company does that.
Okay. Uh, just a second. This questions keep coming in the chat window, keep moving up. I'll need to just catch up with the questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So next question is from Tina. To what extent do you see the significance of automation being a part of the credit risk rating in India in the years to come?
Oh, significant amount. We ourselves are working on a lot of automation projects, which we are wanting to employ. Essentially, it's very difficult to understand. How do I put it? A lot of things can actually be well understood or more better understood with data and how data has behaved over a period of time. So that is something that we want to employ, and we want to use more and more to predict credit behavior. So we are, as we speak, also working on creation of a certain kind of models to predict credit behavior of the companies that we are rating using the data that we have collected over a period of time. And obviously, it is not going to replace the role of a credit analyst, but it is going to be used as a tool to enhance the ability of a credit analyst to do better work. But yes, automation is coming in a significant way in the credit industry. In fact, a lot of retail platforms, if you look at a lot of fintechs for that matter, give a loan immediately on you entering certain data and they doing certain authentication checks that they do. It is a totally it's a totally automated process with no manual intervention. And I had an opportunity to study some of these fintechs, and the surprising aspect is that whenever there has been an override by a person, then the impact of delinquencies or the extent of delinquencies on the overridden loans is higher than the delinquencies on the automated loans. So in retail credit, there is a significant uh, way in which technology is presently also getting used to do credit risk assessment. A lot of data is getting used. A lot of credit information companies which have come up, they are supplying behavioral data on certain kinds of customers, certain geographies, and so on and so forth. That's happening a lot in retail credit. It is going to happen in corporate credit also as we speak. So I see a significant role of automation in corporate credit too going ahead.
Okay. So there's a question from Dharan. He's asking, do one need doesn't need learn languages such as Python or R for credit analysts? Like few banks have this as a requirement. So you think it's a must?
Um, if you want to join into the team which is building models, then it might help you, but it is not a must.
Okay. And next question is from Bharat. Apart from financial parameters, how are other non-financial criteria for an entity are looked at by credit analyst? And can you give me examples?
This is not the platform for that. It's a whole new, how do you do credit rating kind of question. So yes, a lot of non-financial parameters too, but I don't think this is a time and opportunity to go
Correct.
into that.
Maybe another session just on
Yeah.
this. Okay. So Bharat, you'll have to wait. Uh, all right. So I'll come back to Harshita's question. She asked, which will be a good industry to catch up once someone has a credit experience in a housing finance company and wants to change?
So really depends on your interest. You can why do you, I mean, I really didn't understand this question as to which industry to catch up. When you say industry, are you talking about whether I should join a bank, whether I should join an NBFC, whether I should join a AIF, or what does the question actually mean?
I mean, I'm sure, I'm assuming she's asking what is a logical other industry to look out for if someone has worked in HFC.
So the
So,
logical other industries in HFC only, I mean logical other company. But
I
yeah.
mean, what is related or where this
Yeah,
experience is
so
handy and
related industries would be banking, would be NBFCs, would be can also be credit rating agencies,
yeah.
can be mutual funds. So a whole lot of, see, with 2 years experience, I really don't count that as a significant amount of experience, so as to impede your chances on switching your industry.
Hmm. Okay. There's a question from Aparna. She's asking, okay, before I take this question, guys, we are almost done with our time. So I'll just take a couple of more questions which are here already. So please do not put any more questions. So question by Aparna, do we have a credit rating agencies for microfinance institutions and small banks? I mean, separate credit rating companies
No,
or,
no, 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 we don't have. So, as the credit rating agencies which we have also rate microfinance institutions and small banks.
hmm, okay. Siddharth is asking, are there any use cases of credit ratings in the startup industry?
When you say used cases of credit rating, there are a lot of startups which are not credit rating as such. I guess you mean credit analysis, because a credit rating company cannot be done in a startup mode. There is an institutional framework which is required. There is a certain amount of kind of people who can start. So SEBI has a whole lot of regulations around who can start a credit rating agency. So I don't think we can have a startup kind of a thing in a credit rating agency. But I guess you're talking about fintechs which use credit as a platform. There are a lot of those guys which use credit as a platform to do business.
Okay, so there are a few questions related to, I mean, they are more or less similar. So Ganesh is asking, can CA freshers and CA or CFA, be considered? Sorry, is CA good enough or is CFA additionally recommended alongside CA for a role in credit analysis?
So the more the merrier, but CA is also good enough.
Okay, and there's a question from Tapan. I'm just rephrasing it. He's asking if, say, for example, him or people like him who are working somewhere. I mean, he has 15 years of experience in private bank and wants to take up some kind of a project with
Hmm.
care
Hmm.
without leaving the current job. Uh, are such projects available, or is there some other way he can add such experience to his profile?
Unfortunately, we are so much bound by regulations that we cannot outsource any part of our work. So, regulations for rating agencies in India are by far one of the highest above than anywhere in the world. And I would like to compliment the regulator for that. They have been really, really proactive in doing that. And therefore, we do not engage into any kind of project or outsourced activity. None of the rating agencies would do that because we're not allowed to do that by regulations.
Okay. So, guys, those who are asking for recording, of course, the recording will be available on our YouTube channel within this week. So, just go and look for AIWMI. You will find this recording as well as recordings from all our sessions and conferences from the past, including the the credit summits and all the finale rounds of credit research challenge of the last 3 years. So just look, search for AIWMI on YouTube and you'll find the channel. So I think we are mostly done. There are one or two questions I must have missed, but I think we'll have to keep that for some other day, as we've already overstretched our time. So Revati, thank you so much. It's can't thank you enough actually for you always ready to and willing to take out time for this educational initiatives. And I'm sure this year's credit research challenge will also be a very smashing one, with like the last year. Hoping to do it in person rather than virtual this time.
Oh, that will be nice. That will be
Yeah.
nice. Last
So
time also we had good amount of entries, and it was very good. It was a very good. I enjoyed
yes,
being in
yes.
the jury.
So guys, as I said, the videos of this credit research challenge finale sessions for the last 2-3 years are up on our YouTube channel. So those who are keen to know more and see how students worked on creating credit reports and what kind of questions were asked by the jury members, etc., do go and have a look. I'm sure they'll be very, very interesting and insightful. So on behalf of the audience and in the entire AIWMI fraternity, Revati, thank you. You are as much as a part of AIWMI as others, so I'm not going to put a more formal vote of thanks. But CCRA, I mean, of course, has grown to new heights, but it was all started with your guidance, and we look forward to engaging with you more and more as CCRA becomes a truly global benchmark in credit education. And yeah, and look, see you in the finale now, this year's CRC finale soon.
Thank you so much, Aditya. It's always, as always, it's a pleasure to get associated with students. It's education is my passion, and I love to kind of interact with students. And if in any way I have been helpful in clarifying certain aspects of where this entire careers and credit risk would take them, that would be my day made. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. And the audience, this is the first, our inaugural session in our Career Insight series. We plan to host one such session every week from here on different fields or opportunities within financial services. So be tuned in. You'll keep getting updates for the future sessions as well in time. So thank you for today. Take care, everyone, and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.